Hi, everybody. This is Allan Wright. I'm the president of Zephyr Conferences. We run 5 conferences in the food, wine, and beer industries. And this is Marketing for the Food, Wine, and Beer Industries, a 10-part video series where we are helping small local food, wine, and beer companies improve their marketing. Today is our second week, and we're talking about conquering your local area. Now, this is applicable really to any businesses with a local presence, but it's especially applicable to wineries who have tasting rooms and breweries who have tap rooms. It's also applicable to, for example, food producers who sell locally or participate in local events. So I think this is really going to be good for everybody listening. Today, we're going to divide into 2 different parts. As you can see, I have a guest. This is Andrew Copland from Secret Hopper and the Craft Beer Professionals Group. And Andrew will be talking about 10 steps to running an effective tap room or tasting room. I will then cover 10 steps to marketing in your local community for those of you who might not have tap rooms or tasting rooms, and even for those of you who do. So the good news is you get 20 tips in a very short period of time. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Andrew.
Hey, Allan. I appreciate you having me today. Now let's dive on in. Let's talk about the first encounter that anyone experiences when they first walk into a tasting room or tap room. That's the hello, when you first welcome your guest. Hey, Allan, welcome to the brewery. Have you been here before? Even if you have a line in your tap room or tasting room, acknowledge people towards the back of the line. That acknowledgement goes a long way. It lets them know you're glad they decided to drink with you today. And we found through a study that 97% of people are likely to return and recommend your business if they receive a hello and a goodbye on their first visit. That is a huge statistic. But really, what does it come down to? It comes down to friendly conversations. Sure, it starts with welcoming the guest, but the next step is simply to be likable. You know, it sounds so simple, but you've all been to a brewery or tap room where the bartender or server doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with you. Be likable. Hey, Allan, how's your day going so far? Have you been here before? We refer to this method as the 30-second conversation, and begins with the welcome, continues with the conversation. The next step is offering direction. Hey, Allan, what's your favorite style of beer? Have you been here before? Would you like to try this? If you've been here before, would you like to try our newest seasonal? Let people know what you have to offer. Next up, when you're serving it to them, let them know what they're drinking. Don't just throw a beer or a glass of wine their way. Say, hey, this is our newest IPA. It's called the Zephyr IPA. It has 97 IBUs. It's 6.6% ABV. I hope you really enjoy the citrus notes. Let people know what they're drinking. That way they can order it again. But ultimately, once you finish that encounter, thank that guest. Hey, I'm glad you came to enjoy a drink with us today. We hope to see you again soon. Really, we've talked a little bit about beer education so far, but also educate your guests on the history of your brewery. Teach them about you. The deeper connection they can feel with your brand, the more likely they are to feel connected to it. And one way you can also achieve this is through menus, whether a QR code menu, a physical menu, a menu on a wall. Make sure whatever style of menu you go with, make sure it is easy to read, especially if it's on a wall. Make sure it's big and bold when people walk in. It's the first thing they see. It'll ultimately make experiences run a little bit more smoother because guests are already going to know what they want. But make sure it's easy to read, have the drink name up there, have the style, have the alcohol content. Make sure you have the size options offered, but most importantly, make sure you have the pricing. I've been to so many restaurants and breweries and tap rooms without the pricing up there. Make sure you include those 5 things on a menu. And why does this matter? When a guest is given a physical menu, something they can hold in their hand, they're going to have more conversation about it with their fellow guests. They're going to learn more about your brewery, and they're more importantly going to spend 35% more than guests who do not have a physical menu. Next, we're going to talk about the value of encouraging a second drink. We see that on 45% of taproom and tasting room visits, the staff does not encourage a second drink. I repeat, nearly half the time, a staff member is not saying, hey, Allan, would you like another one of those IPAs? Would you like another glass of wine? It looks like you really enjoyed it. And why should you encourage another drink? Because this guest is going to spend more. When a guest is offered a second drink and they say yes, they're going to spend $6.50 more just by you saying, hey, would you like to try another? And now on to one of my favorite statistics that I've learned through all of my encounters with breweries and tap rooms. Think about beer and wine to go. How many times have you been in a business, and how often does a staff member encourage you to take beer home or wine home with you? This doesn't happen much. We see that it happens on 20% of taproom or tasting room visits. And when a staff member doesn't ask you this question, you're only going to choose to take a beverage home on your own 9% of the time. But when the staff member does say, hey, Allan, would you like to take some home with you? I think you really enjoyed that. You want to share some with your friends? That guest is going to say yes 49% of the time. Simply encouraging someone to take something home is going to have them result in buying it 49% of the time. That statistic absolutely blows my mind. And another way you can build your brand in your own tap room, simply the merchandise. Make sure when you have your merchandise, have it in a visible area with easy to read pricing. No one likes to go up to the bartender and say, hey, how much is this? People don't like bothering people. But importantly, have your staff also rock your merchandise. It shows they're proud to rock your brands. Also, when you get a staff member wearing your merchandise, it just is that easy connection between the guest, and it'll also make them think about purchasing it. Like I said, have awesome merchandise, get seasonal, encourage your staff to wear it. Literally, it's another way you can build your brand. Something you should also build, your mailing list. While this doesn't directly relate to your tap room, it's also going to help get people back. We see that 86% of brewery staff are not encouraging guests to sign up for a mailing list. This is an easy way for you to stay in touch, whether through email, whether through text message. You can send simple reminders to your most loyal followers saying, hey, we're releasing this beer this weekend. We're putting out this wine on Sunday. We're having this really cool event. There's simple reminders that go a long way. Simply popping up in someone's inbox puts your brand top of mind with that potential customer. But really, let's talk about motivating your staff. At the end of the day, we want everyone to be excited to work in your tap room. Motivate your staff through rewards, through recognition, through contests. One of my favorites is, say, encourage your staff. Whoever sells the most beer to go or wine to go over the course of a weekend gets a $100 gift card to another local business. Get them to opt in to want to be excited to work for your brand. The more passionate they are, the more guests will get excited about your brand. And what are we trying to do here? We are trying to keep a positive company culture, and it starts at the top. If the owners get along and really love the business they've created, it's going to resonate with the management team. Then it's going to resonate with the staff. Then the staff is going to put it all out there to every guest who walks in there. And they're going to feel the love. They're going to feel that sunshine. They're going to feel that positivity. And people like to drink in places where they're having fun. And why does this matter? Because those guests are going to come back sooner. They're going to spend more. They're going to tell their friends. And it's ultimately going to help build your presence in your local community. So at times like right now, it's ever so important to help stay top of mind during a pandemic. Visits are more intentional, and you can still build these relationships even during the most unusual of times. And now, your turn, Allan.
Well, I like that list. It's excellent. And one of the things that I noticed is that none of those are really very difficult to do, are they? It's just more concentrating and making sure you're focusing on what you're doing.
Yeah, it's truly the little things that can ultimately make a big difference. When we're caught up in the moment of these quick encounters, we can often forget to do simple things like encourage beer to go. But if you can do things like that, you can also build your brand more effectively.
Yeah, excellent. Great. Part two of this, I'm going to go into now talk about marketing in your local community. And in this, I think that food and drink businesses have a natural advantage even outside of the tasting room and tap room, because you've got a product and people like tasting your product. So we'll get right into this. Number one, offer tastings to local groups. A lot of these ideas, of course, are going to be better for post-pandemic, but can be adapted during the pandemic too. Think about all the local groups in your area. And if you don't know them, go on to meetup.com and take a look. The Elks Club, moms groups, running clubs, they all are looking for good activities to do. And you have a great activity to do. You could go to their groups and provide tastings. You could invite that running club bid to your brewery or tasting room after they meet, and you can cooperate with them. Number two, create partnerships with your local DMO or guild. Guilds are often brewery guilds, winery associations, food organizations. Local DMO stands for Destination Marketing Organization, and those are your local tourism boards. They are looking for things to do for their customers and the press that visit your area. And if you work with them and they know you're willing to cooperate, they will include you in their advertising, in their press tours, etc. Number three, create partnerships with local hotels or restaurants. This is a no-brainer for this food and drink industry, right? Because people coming to restaurants and people staying at hotels are looking for other things to do oftentimes. And you can help them out by going there and talking to their staff, dropping off a case of beer or a couple bottles of wine at the major hotels in the areas to thank the staff for sending people to you, or going in there and talking to them and giving them a rundown on who you are can go an awful long way to encouraging them to recommend you when they're recommending things to their customers. Number 4, work with the local tour operators. There are hundreds of food tour operators, hundreds of wine tour operators, and hundreds of beer tour operators in the United States alone, and more all throughout the world. They're all running customers around to various food and drink businesses, and you want to be in there with them. I know for a fact that they often struggle to partner with breweries and wineries and restaurants and food companies, and you can partner with them easily by just approaching them. Number 5, provide space for your local groups in your business. If you've got a tasting or tap room, that makes it really easy. We all hear about, for example, yoga in a brewery. That's a great idea, but think about how many more ideas like that there could be. The local card group, the local, who knows, meditation group in a winery after closing hours or before closing hours could be great for getting people into your business and getting them accustomed to visiting you. Number 6, participate in off-site events. This is one that all of you know because you are all doing food festivals, beer festivals, wine festivals, but I want you to think about also the non-industry events that happen. There are so many events, fundraising events, nonprofit events, community events, even school events where the adults might want to be participating in having a beverage or maybe meet on their own with the PTA sometimes. Number 7, offer to do Zoom meetings. So Andrew mentioned this a bit, and we are in the pandemic. People are tired of Zoom meetings, but they're also looking for ways to make those Zoom meetings interesting. I run the local food, wine, and beer social club in my community. I am constantly reaching out to breweries and wineries and restaurants to see if I can set up Zoom meetings where we purchase their product and they come on and talk to us as we're tasting it. Why is it up to me to have to do that? Why aren't they going on to Meetup, finding me and coming and saying, hey, I'd love to cooperate with you guys? That's something you can do. Number 8, create a regional tourism offering. Most tourism for food and drink industry is within 2 to 4 hours. That's what the statistics show. And so you could get people to come into your area by cooperating and creating an offering. Work with a local hotel, several restaurants, several other breweries or wineries, and create a package weekend, and then have your DMO go promote it to a local city. That'd be a great idea to broaden your reach. Number 9, collaborate with similar businesses in a nearby town, not just your town. What if you're a brewery and you don't even know the brewery that's an hour and a half away from you, but you could call them up and say, hey, this is who we are. How'd you like to cooperate? We'll promote you guys, you promote us. Maybe you could even bring a busload of people to our brewery one weekend, and we'll do the favor in return to yours a following weekend. Number 10, all the above 9 have been about you reaching out to local groups. Number 10 is reaching out to local community members themselves. I'm shocked how rarely I ever get anything, email, mail, any sort of approach at all from local food, wine, and beer businesses. But you want to conquer your local area, right? And so why not send out a flyer? I mean, you could mail it, you could drop it off, and have a locals only special that would appeal to all your local neighbors. Or how about provide off-season locals only pricing that they know about that only takes place in October and November, or a locals only mug club where they feel special and they want to participate. So those are 10 ideas to get you marketing to your local business. Andrew, any thoughts on those?
Allan, I absolutely love your flyering idea. Sometimes the old school marketing methods can be still very, very valuable. So I absolutely love that and really enjoyed your list.
Great. Andrew, tell us, what do you have coming up with your businesses?
So I also run Craft Beer Professionals. We're a community on Facebook, and we have our spring virtual conference April 19th to 21st. It's 100% free, live in our community on Facebook. You can go to craftbeerprofessionals.com, search us on YouTube, search us on Facebook. Going to be 3 days straight of educational content.
Excellent. And our Beer Marketing and Tourism Conference is coming up in October. Our Wine Marketing and Tourism Conference is coming up in August, the first in Richmond and the second in Eugene, Oregon. So thank you for participating in this part of our 10-part video series. Next week is on surveying your customers. Thanks, everyone.